Hi, I'm Joe Smolinski. I brought over today a special engine. We're going to be looking at the Lionel Lackawanna SD70ACe Norfolk Southern Heritage engine.
And I'm Herb Koch, and we're with the Chicagoland Lionel Railroad Club. Joe, thank you for bringing in the Lackawanna diesel. This is a nice SAE engine, SD70. And I see we got the road number 1853. And we also got the backup unit. Lionel made a dummy unit that you were able to get, and that's a nice backup purchase.
These are my first legacy engines, and I've been really impressed with the detail of the paint scheme, how clear and crisp the lines are.
Yeah, you can see how the radio is real nice. The yellow lines are crisp.
And that radio equip sign, Herb, is kind of like a moniker for Lackawanna, that you'll see that on all their engines and their cabooses.
Okay.
The other thing I like about the engine is it's just a rugged-looking engine. You know, it's got a tough look about it that says, you know, we can pull anything.
Yeah, it's got muscle.
So bring it on, and we'll haul it wherever we need to go.
I like
Some of the other features I like, Herb, are the knuckle couplers. These are actual remote. You can use them off of your command. You'll also see in the cab, we've got the engineer and the conductor.
Joe, I like the builder plate that's on here.
I do too, Herb, but what I also like on it is just below the engine number itself, you can just barely see it, the NS.
The Norfolk Southern designation.
Norfolk Southern, you know, that they were the ones that helped bring this Heritage Series to life.
And if you notice, they got the F on the front of the engine to indicate front of the engine.
I didn't notice that until now as well. Both very cool. One of my favorite features is the front oscillating ditch lights. I really like that look as it's coming around the corner and you see the lights alternating back and forth. A real authentic look. And you'll see that in a lot of the Lionel diesel engines. Some of the other things I like about the engine is the engine rev. Right now you can hear the engine just idling, but then as the engine starts up, you get the authentic rev, as you can hear. Really cool sound. Makes it really so authentic.
It really goes through a nice cycle.
It does, and actually I think it's got 6 sequences that it goes through, from the startup of the engine to medium to the highballing speed. So you get all the effects of a real locomotive. Another feature I like, Herb, are the cooling fans. You see these 2 fans on top. That's used to help with the dynamic braking, that it releases the air out of the engine to help.
The hot air that is accumulated.
That builds up, and it lets that hot air escape out of the engine.
You mentioned that the dynamic brakes house the controls for the engine.
That's right, Herb. If you lift the cover up, you'll see this is the control settings for the engine. You see the typical program run. That's what you do to start up the engine when you first get it going. And then you'll also see switches for having it used in
the Odyssey
mode and smoke. Also on top, you'll see this is a smoking unit. This is the area where the smoke would actually come out. You put your liquid in there. Right now I'm not using any of the liquid smoke. That's just by choice today.
Well, to me, we have dirty running engines and clean running engines, so I always have clean running engines, so I don't use the smoke feature on mine either.
Well, another thing about the history of the engine is when this engine was built in 2004, one of the criteria that it had to meet was the EPA standards for a Tier 3 level engine.
So we want clean running engines.
So you want clean running engines because unless it could pass that EPA rating, that engine would not be allowed to run. That's just a bit of the history behind the engine.
Yeah. Hey Joe, you can see that the engine is ready to go backwards because the lights are illuminating the back of the engine.
That's right, Herb. When you go into reverse mode,
Yeah.
the engine's on the front stop, go off, and the rear engine lights turn on so that the engineer can see where he's going.
So now the back is turned off, and then the front is going to be turned on.
That's correct.
Yeah, that is nice that came up on the front of the engine also.
That's right, Herb. Now we got the two front lights on. As you can see, they're right next to the lighted road number lights.
You know, one thing that I like about this is the light that you can see right at the base of the trucks. And this light is to help the engineer locate his perspective with the ground as far as moving. These engines are so big that sometimes it's just so hard to be able to judge your ground speed when you're going 1 or 2 miles an hour.
Well, that's a nice feature, and that was information I wasn't aware of, so that's a nice point.
And it turns off once the engine gets to speed. As this is a later legacy engine, which is from 2013,
Yes, it is.
it has the sequence sound, which we can activate by putting on aux 1, holding it until the bell whistle rings. Okay, we know we got sequence control, and now we can move it out. So now when I turn on the throttle, you'll be able to hear the whistle, the bell, the ditch lights turn on. We get communication.
Yeah, I really love the crew talk. It really adds so much realism to it. And here we go, pulling out. I really like that brake sound effect.
That is nice.
Part of the background of this engine is that the SD70ACe was built in 2004 through 2014. And during this time, about 2,100 of these units were made. Some of the buyers were Union Pacific, Burlington Northern Santa Fe, Canadian National, CSX, and Norfolk and Southern. This 4,300 horsepower engine was built to meet the EPA standards I had mentioned earlier in 2005, and it was to compete with the Dash 8 at the time.
Now, you don't see the Lackawanna too often. How did they get the Lackawanna paint on this engine?
Well, Herb, we really have the Norfolk Southern to thank for that. During 2012, which was their 30th anniversary, they took 20 of the SD70ACe engines and painted them in their predecessor paint schemes from railroads that they acquired through acquisition and merger back at the time. So what you have is, this is one of 19 of the special paint schemes. Some of the other fallen flag paint schemes are Erie, Wabash, Pennsylvania,
Southern,
Southern, Illinois Terminal, just to name a few. And there's a real cool picture on the internet that shows all 20 of these engines at the Norfolk and Southern Roadhouse that really gives a real nice view of all these at one time.
Going off duty. Have a good one. Out.
Well, Joe, I like this engine.
I really do too. As I said, this is my first Legacy unit, and my first engine as a boy was a Lackawanna. So when I had to start when I had the opportunity to get a Legacy one, you know, I went all in with getting not only the powered but the non-powered unit.
Yeah, this is sweet.
Yeah, it makes a nice looking tandem.
So this is Herb Koch and
Joe Smolinski.
we're with the Chicagoland Lionel Railroad Club. Over now.